Hello, magazine throwback here with Mr. Paul Roberts, Grot Bags. We're here in beautiful Huntington Beach, and we thought we'd flip through some old magazines, see if we can pick any old trivia up as we go along.
Dude.
Paul, 1984, May 18, 60 pence, BMX Action Bike, Wayne Llewellyn on the cover.
Yeah, I mean this era, when BMX Action Bike came out, like it was a big deal. Like everyone would sweat the newsagents for it. But I mean the cover, that era, BMX racing was massive. There wasn't really freestyle, hadn't even solidified at that point. But Team Amico and Mongoose, Amico was the distribution for Mongoose in England. Their team was just, dude, they were so badass. They had Andy Ruffle, obviously, but Wayne Llewellyn rode in the 12s, but he was like taller than my dad. He was huge. He was like 6'1", 6'2".
Even there, looking at that picture.
And
like...
I mean, like, look, so he would have been racing in 13 expert or 12 expert, 13 years old at that point.
13,
and he was like, and what was funny, he wasn't like just tall, he was kind of built as well. So he had that power of like the 16, 17 year olds. I mean, he would go up age groups and not beat people, but yeah, Wayne Llewellyn. And then on contents, the BMX Action Bike used to be famous for their testers. So you got Mark Sid Salisbury over there, but obviously I've got an affinity with this guy. So you can see on the top two there's David Haynes and Sid Salisbury. But David Haynes was a Hillingdon Hawks local, and he was like the kid at that point who had more skills than anybody else. Like he could manual before people knew what manuals were, and that Hillingdon National, he was winning.
83 or 84?
I don't know. It was the one where Damien and Brad Smith had the photograph.
I was in the picture.
Oh, I'm sorry. You weren't as good as them at that
That
point.
was my first actual picture, so that's 84.
Oh, quick one. We've just
gone.
gone past it, but happy 50th birthday to Anthony House, or Anthony House as it would be in England.
We might even catch him in this issue.
Yeah, maybe. He was big time in them. So yeah, David Haynes was the guy from our crew, and he became an ABMX tester. Photos there, Nicky Dalton and Harvey Monkton. They used to have ABMX ears, which was the news, and that was cool.
So
I mean, dude,
Falcon.
the Comp 4 had just come out at this point, so everyone stayed on Comp 3s, but the Comp 4 was the first Tioga tyre that had the Kevlar beading. So that dates then. They went from the Comp 3 to the Comp 4, and it was a much more lightweight than a Comp 3 because it had the Kevlar beading in it. But yeah, I've used them.
Already
tyres.
you can tell how big the industry was like booming.
Dude,
all these.
You just got full-page ads from all these companies, even English bike companies that never came here. Were just like Fox.
MT Fox.
Yeah, they were.
Rodney, what was his name? Rodney.
Oh man.
From down your neck of the woods, wasn't he?
Yeah, no, but he was from that shop from MT.
They had his crew were all on MT Fox. Rodney Craig. Rodney Craig.
Ian Ruby was on Fox for a little bit before he got picked up by Youngs. But this one here, they used to have a thing called Radness Unlimited, which would be like their photo section, what you would think of as just a random photo or put in. But that photo there is Mark Sid Salisbury, he was a famous pro. Very fast, but he was also an amazing dirt jumper
and a test rider. And
he was a test rider for
BMX Action Bike.
And he also, for me personally, because he came from London, like I had that affinity with him. Like I felt an affinity with him and Pete Middleton more maybe so than Tim and Andy.
It was he was fun. He was kind of the Mike Miranda, right, of England? Would you say
that,
fun guy?
And was pretty much the best jumper. As
yeah,
well,
yeah, better style. I mean, look at that picture.
He affected my career in almost more than anybody else, because at the National in 1983, the first National at Teesside, he lent me his Floville Flyer Cruiser, and it was the first time they'd had age group. Yeah, so I rode 13 and under cruiser. Whopper won. I think Whopper got first, maybe Andy Lincoln got second, and I got third. And it was, dude, I was so far away from getting a national trophy on 20 inch at that point, that getting that on cruiser and then racing for those points. Well, it made me keep racing when I wasn't good enough.
I think back then Cruiser really did count for us, at least.
Dude, that video that Mark's dad posted the other day, I mean, when you look at those semis, you're looking at like Dean Idials and Lee Flavin, who were European and world ranked, having to come from 5th in the semis at a national. Like, that's mind-blowing. I mean, my cruiser class, to have Winnie, you know, I mean, Darren Stock and Nigel Murphy when they were there, but that race was like Winnie, Lee Alexander, Darren Wood, Whopper, Dave Morris, Colin Shivers, Simon Fox, and me in the final. And like, just to be in that list with them dudes for me is crazy. But yeah, Sid lent me the cruiser, and
another ad, Hutch.
The rest is
Everybody
history.
wanted to ride for Hutch.
Yeah, of course.
Young's another great
Another amazing
team.
shop team that, like I said, they sponsored Ian Ruby, Kevin Hepburn, a couple of them people. This was pretty cool. Letters page. They always had a letters page.
We'll have to, if we do this again, we'll have to get the one because you got a famously letter in one of the mags.
The first ever time I was published in any way, shape or form, I wrote a letter to BMX Action Bike about me smashing my face up, but also hyping up Ian Ruby. And and then 10 years later, I'm fucking the editor of Ride Magazine.
Okay, can you name that guy? Obviously Harvey Monkton.
Oh,
and this is a trivia. I'm going to get it.
No, you can pull that out.
I don't think his name's even on there. So that's Harvey Monkton of Team Yes, and this guy is kind of in and out. I'm thinking it's John Izzard is my guess.
No, I don't think so. I think that's too. He's not. No, he's not stocky enough. John Izzard had bigger shoulders. I think that's probably one of the.
Anybody knows watching this? Let us know. Is that John?
Hang on. Listen. So the Yes Superstars ad. I don't think that's John Izzard, but Dale does. We both know that's Harvey Monkton. God told us. But who is this? If anybody knows, send in. I don't answer emails.
Comment below.
Yeah, but get Dale. Anyway, continuing.
Tioga, obviously.
Yeah,
still,
man. Bear Trap headset.
Still sponsors me.
Yes.
This is the ad that I wanted right down and back when I saw this.
So there's two riders here.
Three, right? Godfrey Brothers and Nicky Restle?
Oh, no, I don't think Warren's in there. There's no... I think it's just Nicky and Stephen Godfrey.
That was good luck, though.
Well, they were the ones who rode the Formula 1 bikes, the small one. The Diamondback Formula 1, they already had the Leary Turbo, which was as good as anything out there. Like the Leary Turbo was as good as the Hutch Pro Star. Like it was a complete bike by one of the best manufacturers, top of the line, everything. Arrays on it, like chromoly cranks, just everything. But they made a small bike, a Formula 1. Nicky Restle rode it, and it was dope. It was really, really nice. 1.5s on
David Haynes again?
So yeah, that was David Haynes that we were talking about earlier.
On your home track?
No, that's Hounslow.
Ah.
That's he was a Hayes local, but I think this test is from Hounslow, and he's testing.
You're still kind of a Hounslow local, right?
Oh, I rode there, and I was very close friends that period. When Hounslow track was built, I started going there and hanging out with Simon Hayes. Oh, there's that front wheel slide.
Is that Craig Campbell's helmet?
No, but it's the same kind, the Premier with the 3 colours. So David Haynes used to do this weird front wheel skid thing, and we kind of even made fun of him for it. And then when this magazine came out, nobody made fun of him for it anymore. Like, so dope. But yeah, David Haynes was kind of like I say, the local badass from Hillingdon. Shimano DX pedals. Anything on this page, if you can find anything on this page on eBay right now, it's currently probably about the same price as your car. David Haynes with next up again, and I think this was his coming out party. I think this was the
never knew him.
First big.
I know who he was. I just never knew.
Multiple page test that he did. I mean, look at this Shiners, all that stuff from Shiners. Some of these rims, if you could get them rims nowadays, the Yukais and the Nylon Knobbly tyres, there'd be so much.
I had them.
Yeah.
On my freestyle bike.
The Alina snake post.
The snake post.
God, I ran a snake post backwards.
It's a good thing to look back. So this is Andy
yeah.
Patterson, who came out numerous times to the UK in 83, 84.
Yeah.
Raced the European Championships. I think he won Beacon Donk. I don't know if he was there or not. Anyway, he definitely won in 83.
He won one of the things at Slough, didn't he, when Stu and Greg crashed? He won Pro Trophy.
He won the European Championships, which was a 2-race series, Dijon, France.
Yep.
And Birmingham Wheels. And then the Worlds the same year. He won Pro Open when Stu and Greg crashed. And then obviously on top of that, he, the successful and well-documented Skyway World Tour, so they're like Chris Young, Billy Stupple.
Here's your real random trivia, I don't even know how deep this is, but Andy Patterson invented the layback seat post.
I didn't know that.
But didn't patent it, didn't copyright it, didn't think it was any big deal.
Didn't get paid.
And dude, he would have made so much money, man. Even if it was just like 10 cents off of each one of them sold by GT, he'd have been balling forever.
I listened to a podcast.
Hang on, one more thing quickly. So the trick he's doing here, what's funny, I remember seeing this and not thinking it was that good. It's a quarter pipe ramp 360 to fakie. But what's crazy is you go through time, there's not many people, there's people who do it now with free coasters, but if you look back through time, there weren't many people who did that trick. Like Jerry Galley used to do that on vert, but he would do it about 5 or 6 feet on vert. But a quarter pipe ramp 360 to fakie, especially back in 84, that's, you're almost the height of fashion in today's tricks.
With CW bars.
Oh, dude. I mean, if you're as big as that, you can run them bars. I could never run them, man.
Suzuki, BMX.
Yep. A lot of the manufacturers of motorcycles at that point would have BMXs. Suzuki had them, Kawasaki had them, Yamaha had them.
Calendars.
Race calendars. Look, with multiple races on the same day. Look at that in England. Multiple races. Here's a Sunday, and there's 1, 2, 3.
You could choose where you wanted to go, didn't you?
Dude, how crazy is that?
Yeah.
Look. There's races in Manchester, Peterborough, Shoreham, Slough, Hemel. There's a race in Slough and a race in Hemel Hempstead on the same day. That's how popular BMX was in '84. 2 tracks within 20 miles of each other, both running races with loads of kids there on the same day.
I remember there being races at Derby and Nottingham at the same time as well.
I mean, that's insane how many kids were racing. It'd be nice if all these bike sales, if it does equate to kids coming to events. My thing is, I just think with those pump tracks, if they started making events and races and freestyle things at a pump track, like if Red Bull came in and threw a bunch of money in it and invited all the dons, like invite all the badass BMX racers, invite a bunch of fucking killer trail riders, and then give out a bunch of money, all them local kids that's their spot would see them people come in, and like, I think you could have some kind of resurrection in BMX that you had in the 80s. I just think the problem is with racing, as soon as kids see the racing, they want to see everything, so they see the Olympics, and that's where they have to go. But it's like, that ain't fun. Like, and I'm not saying it's not good, but to train yourself to be in the Olympics is different from being a local badass at your pump track. Ron Wilton says, "Is this the next Bob Haro?"
Was he?
No, I don't think there was an next Bob Haro really, but this is Ron Wilton, and he was one of the first guys who Bob Haro sponsored and put on Haro in America, and this was one of his first trips over. If you notice, he's got the Haro plate. Bob Haro always used to use the 1 and Ron Wilton used to use the 2, but these wheels, look at these. So these are white Tufts, but they are the uber rare white Tufts with the gold hubs, with the Campagnola sealed hubs and the graphite in the wheels, man. I'd kill for a pair of them wheels. Joey Irwin? No, maybe not.
Bum slogans, it's Miller time.
Oh yeah.
That's Clint Miller. I lose, was that?
I lose. No, that's somebody's joke about, because Greg Hill had you lose.
Yeah.
Who did you think I lose was?
Was it Alan
Someone
Woods?
here? Might be. Oh, it was Alan Woods, you're right.
Yeah.
Mrs. Hutch was...
Thelma Hutchins.
Yeah, Hutch's wife. What did you have? Just Dale?
Just Dale.
I think I checked that. Something like that.
Oh, you did? You had that?
I think so, yeah.
Rally ad? I'd love to know who these dudes are. I don't know if they're team riders or not.
No, I don't think so.
Just
I think
local
they're
Nottingham dudes.
Wherever they were in the background. Rally was so
How much
big.
Rally was
Look,
on 3
Rally's
page
got a 1, 2, 3, might even be more. 3-page ad, man. And like these races, dude.
Well, I was at this race.
What's funny is you look at it and there aren't really any crowds in that. But I think because I was there and I remember the feelings of like that intensity of the pro finals, because they'd only just started racing for money. Like it says here, the buck starts here.
Well, this is
money.
actually, let me explain. This is the first superclass race for money, and they let amateurs race it as well.
Everybody.
Big Trev won it. I think Scott Williams, before I turned the page, Scott Williams got second, and it was still an amateur. There's a bit more on it on this page, yeah. So you got Pat Robinson's in there, Pete Middleton, Mark White,
Martin Jose,
Joe Schofield would have still been amateur.
Yeah.
Tony Slater,
Simon
Bailey, and Steve Bigland, an amateur.
Boy, Simon Bailey, you look good in that Hutch stuff.
Then you got the first national of the year in '84. I remember
this.
Teesside.
Dude. We used to go there for the first national every year, and for the people from London, that drive was bonkers, man. It was so far, and it was almost like the BMX officials didn't realise how big BMX was each time. Every year they'd start and there'd just be many more people than they thought. But this one we finished the finals in the dark, and Tim Print, it's got my final there. Stu Diggins was number 1 at that point, but Tim got him on the inside. And Warren Godfrey's there, who you mentioned for Diamondback. But this kid here, Johnny Miller, what's crazy, that kid, he was a local from Teesside and was in the age group of death with, Stu Diggins and Darren Wood and Lee Alexander and Tim Print. We went to Teesside one year for the first national and he just whooped everyone.
What was his name?
Johnny Miller. And never recreated it anywhere else. But Teesside, he won a national and beat, I think Stu was Euro champ at that point. He just dominated, man, crazy. Nicky and...
So young Gary Llewellyn, before
yeah.
he got a mongoose on
Dude,
Edwards.
Gary Llewellyn's on 1 3/8 on a race, a 20-inch racer bike from Edwards.
I think this was his coming out party.
Dude, that's the bike that Dean Idios used. How small is that bike? And Gary Llewellyn's used it.
Nicky Restall,
yep,
Cliff Welly,
yep,
Lotto winner, Nicky Restall.
Yep.
How much did he win?
It was 3.45, I think, but he gave, because somebody...
Pounds.
Dude, he was so lucky, he gave somebody money to get Lucky Dip, and that won. But he gave the kid who went and got the ticket, he gave him everything over 3 million, so he gave him like 450 grand.
Wow.
That is dude, this, this is when you know that pro is big. Look, so it's a centre page spread.
Class.
Yeah, but the first time we're racing for money. So you're looking. There's a picture of the pro final. You've got a picture of the winner, like who would have been the big name star. That's Tim March. But I mean, that shows you what it was like, and how the dudes at the top end were just like that. I mean, that sums it up for me. Like one of, if not the best dude, like winning the final. You know, it's. It
was the first big matchup between those two guys.
Yeah, and people have waited for that for a while. Eddie and Harry.
Okay, John Lee. Another one is Sid, Horowad.
Dude, Condor. Don't even remember Condor.
No, that was in and out. That was almost a Landau type deal, I think.
Yeah, but probably bought from the
indoor race, Coventry. I think everybody crashed in the main.
Third money race in England. Pretty crazy that they'd only just started racing for money, man. But it was. I remember it being so exciting that people were racing for money. Yeah. Worst helmet ever in an ad. Look at that. Dude, that is terrible, even for then. Like, that's no defence that was 84. Like, I do realise you've designed your own race strip, and as we've gone through time, it's become completely and utterly socially unacceptable, and you now look like an incredible racist.
That guy doesn't want us to name him.
Well, the problem is, like, you can get away from the racism because you can say, yeah, well, it was just a time and nobody knew, and I thought it was the General Lee. But this helmet, there's no getting away from that helmet. That's despicable and should not be allowed, even in 1984.
Right. Yeah, I'm not getting into politics. Another one I can't
Destroyer.
even remember. Yeah.
New on the streets.
Yeah, I must have skipped that ad.
Dude, that's so
all these
crazy.
years I've never actually started.
This is how big BMX were. There were companies that literally lasted 5 months, made a bunch of bikes, sold them all. It's so crazy.
Jumping Jack, our cartoon.
Yeah.
You guys over here had, obviously
Radical
Rick. In England we had Jumping Jack. And he got up to all kinds of stuff, didn't he?
Yeah, I don't know, man. I think I was stuck in that point thinking the stuff from America was cool and the stuff from England wasn't.
No, I wasn't Jumping Jack, man.
I was super into BMX, like English BMX. Oh look, Association Notice Board.
Oh, notice, so you got the date. So the MBMXA Nationals in 1984, Peterborough, Bournemouth, Wimborne, that was a double header, Bromsgrove, Newton Abbott, Bradford, Gateshead, Deddington, and Doncaster.
Yeah, I didn't do MB that year.
It's a good job you didn't go to. Bradford. No jump down the first straight, downhill and then uphill. I got slaughtered.
Wimborne is on that as well, and I remember going to Wimborne and that being next level when we went there. I remember going to Magna Mustangs and that track just being so much better than anything we'd rode on. It had that limestone.
I never went there, but I saw the footage, and there's Firebird. That was a
DP
popular bike.
DP was one of the good English companies that actually did it right and kind of lasted. It's and there it is. There's your freestyle.
Yeah, that was on my Pro Burner. Got turned when I got a GT. My Pro Burner, which was my race bike at the time, then got turned into my freestyle bike. Front brake and.
Dude, I just want to point this out. This is the ultimate. What goes around comes around, and something that's fashionable one time will stop being fashionable and come back. So I'm going to read it to you. Hang on. Here we are. Let's look here. Evolution goes into reverse. We saw the original tech plate first in Action Bike back in issue 8. Now Haro decides to fill in the tech plate and call it the Series 1B. So this is May 1984, and this is the first time that we had seen the Series 1B plate, because it used to be flow panel before that, and that is the very plate that they repopped and sold hundreds and hundreds of thousands of over the last 3 or 4 years. That's the exact plate that they copied. And a DK stem, which everybody wanted from probably... That's crazy, because DK I think of sometimes as later in the 80s, but they were making quality stuff. Dude.
It's a good team. Robinson UK, Scott Vogel, Darren Nelson, Tony Holland, Alan Woods.
And they only added to that. They only made that team stronger. They've got Dylan. Dude.
Lots of people came and went over the years. But
Tom
Tom
Lynch?
Rode for Robinson? Oh, okay, that was a second.
Yeah,
Robinson.
it would have been the second.
Yeah, that was a Tony Hoffman.
Yeah, the Alan Woods thing. They were always
Anthony Malidi.
Yeah, and Talker as well. All of the Talker dudes were all
Stu Diggins ad. No, is it an ad?
No, it's a thing for a hot shot. Okay. This thing is it's almost like a thing for co-sponsorship for riders. They're saying that if you ride a red line, hit us up, and we'll find out who you are and put you on this thing. It's like a red line riders program. They had this as well, dude. They used to have free sales and swaps. Like everything that's on the internet now and is all broken up is all in this magazine. Like this is like Craigslist. Like or offer up or something. You're getting the killer deals there for. I remember seeing, you would read this, and like somebody you would know, one of the factory riders would be selling their old bike or something, and you'd just be like, dude, I would kill to have that. Eddie Fiola, who is down here at the pier normally on Tuesday nights. We hang and see Eddie all the time. He's
Bob Morales.
He hangs out with
still
Mike
around, isn't he?
Yeah, what's fun, Bob Morales, what's funny with him is those frames that he built, dude, they are worth money now, man. SE stuff.
Shiner again.
There it is. There is the, I don't know if that's the very same one, but the bike that Sid lent me was the one from Shiners, and it was the blue one with the gold wheels. So that could be, like that would be, actually, maybe I'm just over romanticising, because I think that might be a 20 inch. Hard to tell. But yeah.
This is kind of unique. It's ad from Bicycle Action and mountain biking in '84. I would have never heard of it then. That's James Black, right?
Yeah, and this would have been right at the beginning, very beginning of, like, I don't even think Tomac rode for mongoose by this point, but they obviously got whiff of mountain bikings and what was coming up, and the magazine house that did BMX Action Bike, and this guy, James Black, who was awesome dude, really, really good with the riders, good with the editorial. I don't think that caught on, but I mean, that's really...
Not till later.
No, but I mean, they've really, you're ahead of the game there.
Yeah,
getting into a mountain bike.
I didn't hear a mountain bike until 90s, early 90s, I think.
Not until we was trying to...
Another huge national, Nottingham. This is, I'll talk a little bit about this one because I was there and it was my home track. This was the first MBMXA National of 1984, and what everybody didn't realise till they got there, that it was huge.
Dude.
Just more people showed up than they expected. It's when the sport took another level up, and they couldn't finish the national. There was no floodlights, and so they had to go back and finish it off. But I think they got to semis, and they shined car lights onto the track, but I didn't think that lasted too well, and then they called it anyway. So looking here, a cool 763 riders and 101 motos in 1984.
I mean, for
That's
England,
impressive,
like,
yeah.
when you think England as a market is smaller than California, smaller than Southern California.
And a great picture, you can see everybody trying to look at the moto sheet boards there. That's what we used to do, which is a pretty cool picture. Ashley Davis, John Zoddle. You got Jason Maloney.
I used to love Ashley Davis's style, man. The power wheelies and stuff. Like, I was so bummed when I got on White Hawk and realised he wasn't on there anymore and he wasn't going to be my teammate. Dude, Ian Dixon, rest in peace.
No, different. There's two. I saw two different Ian Dixons. There's Ian Dixon that passed away, and rest in peace to Ian. This is Ian Dixon from Nottingham, who was actually rode for GT and was national number 2 behind Wayne Llewellyn. And then when they started the Puch team or the Puck team, he was on that. So another guy that's not on social media. So if you're out there, Ian, hit us up.
I liked him when he was on GT.
Yeah, he looked some great pictures with him.
He looked so factory.
Good
and
style.
He was number 2 to Llewellyn.
And one of the first English guys to go to the US. In the 80s, he went to the Murray World Cup in 86, 87, somewhere around that time. So Bigfoot, Gary
Chomilevich.
Yep.
Yeah, Halford's just had the big dudes. They sponsored Whopper and they sponsored Gary Chomilevich. They were both like 6'3", 6'4". They were huge.
Peter Hawkins with a headset. Not many people had team managers had headsets.
No,
back then.
and Dave Wallace, my team manager, best team manager back in the day. Dave Wallace, he picked me up for Kuhara national team.
And the Nike Team Trophy winners. So it was Amico, Bunny's GT, GT2. So on the podium twice. Cobra, Curtis, CWA team. Diamondback, Falco, Freewheel, Falcon.
This isn't a podium, man.
I think these are just
it's
entries.
alphabetical.
Yeah, it sounded good for a second.
Yeah. But look at that. I mean, you've got all those teams going for team trophies. You've got the factories with 2 teams. Like, you've got Mongoose, Patterson, dude. Leaf Lavin.
More mountain biking. Looked like they really thought this was going to...
Preston Mack doing the test.
Was he a London guy?
Yeah, very much so.
Leaf Lavin?
Yep. Leaf Lavin doing his pro light test. They built that brand.
Greg Hill, man. Seen that ad in the American magazine as well, obviously.
It was right at the time when he changed from GT and set up his own company, and the whole mystique. So this would have been early, because you can tell he hasn't done the pink phase at this point. He's still in the red top. He didn't go through the pink yet, I don't think. Dude.
Just more ads.
He was, dude. How can you have they must have made decent money, man. Look, Suntour Bear Trap copies.
Oh, I had them. You didn't have them?
Look at this, dude. Look, just to show you that people are ripping off from back in the day. So there were Suntour Bear Traps and Shimano DX.
I remember them as well.
And these probably come out of the same factory in Taiwan. and it's just they are exact copies. This is cool. This is Zoom.
Donuts.
So Zoom
Okay.
Zoom products. That's Sid's company. So that's Sid there testing the magazine. We told you about him on SE, but Zoom was Sid's company. He had the donuts on the plate, and that's Mark Salisbury there testing the very GHP. Yeah, man. Funny, I can still hear Sam Woods' voice in my head. There he is, my hero.
Aero pants.
Yeah, man. Dude, he was just the best. Like, I watched him jump off a flyout to flat one time. Oh!
Another UK legend. The
Sir
helicopter
Boost.
goes over.
Yeah.
Errol McLean, Sir Turbo Boost.
Man. He was the first...
Westway.
and he was the first GHP rider, I think, in England. I think that might be what that little article's... But yeah, it does. So Turbo Boost goes GHP. Errol and Winnie and Arnold, and I guess Scott and all those guys from Westway, for me, are just... Arnold was the first adult that I saw on a BMX and realised that you could be a fully grown adult man and still be cool as shit on a BMX.
The last page of every issue of BMX Action Bike would be an interview with a rider called Me and My Bike.
You had one of them?
I did. It was very, still consider it very high up on being my stoke level. Just,
yeah, and you'd had photos at that point, but you hadn't.
I only had a couple years. It was 85, so not too many photos. So
But like
yeah, it was a big deal, and they called me and did it.
If you imagine, there's 6 of these magazines a year, or 9 of these magazines a year, and the people that are featured in there, it's normally 4 out of 5 times it'll be whoever was the top pro. So for Dale to get one of them, dude, out on the back for Skyway, they're the graphites, man. I've got a pair of them, but they're I've got an old pair and a new pair, but I mean that's holy grail shit right there. The new ones aren't as good, but so yeah, that was BMX Action Bike issue number 18.
If you like it, let us know and we'll do it again. Maybe we'll check out some American mags and plenty of English mags.
Yeah, none of those ride magazines, because I broke most of them.
Thanks. See ya.
I'm sure that was number 5.